let's get started with some of the elements for our pages. We're going to start at the front and work our way backward, and the way I will be counting the pages is 1, 2, and then we'll go to this side, and then it'll be 3, 4, and then 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. And then this will be the back of the book. So just when I say go to page 14, or this is on page 14, or this is on page 6, so on and so forth, that's how I'll be counting them, just so you kind of know how I'm getting to the numbers that I'm getting to. All right, so this very front page here is going to have a gatefold opening. And the pieces for that are going to measure 4 3/4 by 5. So they're going to be the whole width of the page and the height of the page. And you're going to score each of them at 1/2 inch on the 5-inch side. So that'll give you your piece that's going to go here and here. So they measure 4 3/4 by 5, and you're going to score at 1/2 inch and at 1/2 inch on just one side. So I'm just going to go ahead and remove a little bit of the backing of my tape. And as I go through the book, I've already attached all of my score tape, my 3/8 of an inch score tape on my flaps, and I've already mitered most of them. The only ones I haven't mitered are the waterfall flaps. So I'm just gonna lay this down. And that's another reason I'm working from the front to the back, is because there's nothing underneath my pieces yet. So I am able to press the pages flat still, whereas if I started at the back and worked my way forward, there would already be something underneath my pages, and I don't want that. So I'm going to go ahead and attach this side now. And again, we're just going to remove a little bit of the backing and put it all the way to the corner here. And then make sure it's nice and straight at the top. And then we can remove our tape and press that down. Okay, so the mats for this page, because we have to attach the mats before we can attach our closure. The mats for this page measure 4 1/4 by 4 1/2, and I've used the cute hot air balloon paper. So I've got my little circles ready here with the brads in them. So what I've done here is I've just cut the circle out of chipboard and then out of the same craft cardstock that I'm using. So I've cut it once out of chipboard, just a lightweight chipboard, and once out of the craft cardstock, and then I've glued them together. And I've done that twice, and then I've just poked a hole through them and put one of my white brads through, and I've just left them like that at the back, because we'll open them once we put them through the paper here. So I want the closure to be about right here, kind of about maybe 1.5 inches from the corner, or from the side over here. And I'm not a big measurer, so if you are, you go ahead and measure your pieces in to where you want them. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to glue this side down now, so that I can figure out where my other piece is going to go. Alright, so that's just going to go right there. Okay, and then I can kind of figure out where I want my second one to be. So I kind of want it about right there. So right the bottom of this balloon here, kind of. But it doesn't have to be exact. It's gonna look beautiful no matter if it's perfect or not, but I do try to get it as close to where I want it as possible. All right, and then we'll just attach it here, like so. Making sure that it's straight. One of the biggest reasons I like to use liquid adhesive when I'm doing my pattern paper is I can still move it around if I need to. So I have just some white embroidery thread here, and I'm going to just wrap it around one of my circles and bring it through and tie it, and then bring it back up here and tie it again at the top. And the reason I do that is so that if I did a big knot down here, one side of my circle would be standing up and the other one would be flat down. So that's why I do one at the bottom and then one at the top. And then we'll just go ahead and cut some of this off here. And then just wrap it around to close it up. Just a couple wraps is good. And then we will cut it off there. And then you can go under here and snip that piece off. So there we go. There's our first page completed. So on the back of this page here, I'm just doing 2 white mats that measure 4 1/4 by 4 1/2. And I'm gonna put a 4 by 4 photo on there, and it's gonna look like a Polaroid. So I think that's kind of a cute idea for that. And they should mat on here pretty perfectly. I'm just using my Fabri-Tac, especially with the thinner, because I use 65-pound weight when I mat. So especially with the thinner paper, I like to use the Fabri-Tac because you definitely do not see anything through that. All right, so let's move on to page 3, which is the first page on the right-hand side of the book. So you're going to need 2 pieces that measure 9 by 2 1/2, and you're going to score it 1/2 inch on the 2 1/2 inch side. So you're going to need 2 of those. And then you're also going to need 2 that measure 5 1/8 by 2 1/2, and you're going to score 1/2 inch on the 2 1/2 inch side. So you're going to need 2 of those and 2 of these. So we're going to do a pocket that opens, and it is going to have the twine closure as well. So we will first need to attach these with these through them. So I'm just going to go ahead and poke a hole as close to the center as I can here. And then I'm going to put one of these through there, like so. And then we will go ahead and attach it. And the paper that I'm using here is from the coordinating paper pack that came with my design team package. It's the coordinating one to the Simple Stories Simple Traveler. All right, and now we'll go ahead and do the same thing to this one, and I'm gonna try to kind of line them up with each other here. so that I know where I'm at. All right, so it's about here. I'm basically aiming for the center, top and bottom, and side to side. And then we'll just put that one through there and open the back up, like so. All right, perfect. And then we can attach that one there. And I've used the We Are Memory Keepers corner chomper on my edges here. I'll just show you that in a second here. So I've just used this, and I used the 1/4 inch side for my pattern papers and for my flaps here. And the pattern paper measures, for matting if you're interested, it measures 8 5/8 by 1 3/4. So 8 5/8 by 1 3/4. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and attach these ones on first. So I'm gonna try to press my papers out flat here so that I can get a better handle on it, like that. And then I'm gonna line it up with this corner here first. They're gonna go all the way to the top and all the way to both sides. So I always line it up to the side that has a score line first, to make sure I'm not going past my score lines. And then just make sure you're all the way to the top there. And then we can go ahead and remove that backing, like so. And then we can attach the bottom one. So just line it up. Make sure it's exactly where you want it before you remove the rest of your adhesive. That's pretty good there. Perfect. All right, so now we're gonna attach these 2 side pieces that are gonna go in here. And these are slightly smaller than the page. They're 1/8 of an inch smaller than the page. So we're just gonna center them in there as best as we can. I'm just attaching the pattern paper here to these flaps. And remember, these are the flaps that measure 5 1/8 by 2 1/2, and you're going to score 1/2 inch on the 2 1/2 inch side. And the pattern paper measures 4 3/4 by 1 3/4. I'm going to attach it to the other side here as well. So when I'm matting, because we're not going to be matting the whole book together, I just go down 1/4 inch. So if it's 2 inches, I go down to 1 3/4. If it's 2 1/2, I go down to 1 1/4. So that's just how I mat. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and attach one of our sides here. Like I said, it is slightly smaller, just so we don't have any problem with closing our page, the top flaps. So just be aware of that and just center it in there as best as you can. And then we'll attach this side here as well. So what I do is I remove just a little bit of the backing of my tape, and then I line it up using the side that is not removed. And then I press down the side that's removed, and then I pull out the rest of the tape. All right, so that's how that's gonna close up. Super cute. And then I'm just gonna either put white cardstock in here or mat it with some of my pattern papers, but I'm not sure yet. So let's just put our embroidery thread on again here. So again, we just run it under and we tie it under one side. And then we bring it up and tie it again up here. And then we can cut this off. And then just give ourselves a little bit. It's always easier to work with when you cut it off. All right, and then that's gonna go just like so. And then we will cut it off. Perfect. So that page is complete. And the back of this page again will just be mats. All right, so now let's move on to what would be, let's see, so 1, 2, 3, 4. So the front of page 5, which is over here again, and it's our page that measures, after it's scored and everything, it measures 9 by 5 3/4. All right, so this page is going to have a double pocket. And what I've done is I have cut my piece at 4.5 by 6 3/4. And then I've scored it at 1/2 inch on both sides. And then I've scored it in the middle at 5 3/8. And then what I've done on the back is I have put a piece of score tape down the middle and then along the bottoms. But when I attach it down, I'm not going to remove all of the score tape all the way up to the top because I want to be able to slip my pattern paper under there. So I'm only going to remove about up to here so that I still have the chance to slip my pattern paper underneath. And then once that's done, then I will remove the rest and press down, and that will give me my double pocket. So again, it's 4.5 by 6 3/4. Then you scored it 1/2 inch on both sides and 3 5/8 right down the middle. So I'm going to go ahead and attach it all the way to this side so that I can have my tags sticking out up here. So I'm just going to remove the backing of a little bit of my tape, and again I'm going to line up before I press down, line up my edges. And it's definitely hard to see because it's all craft on craft, but we can do it. So take that backing off, and then we will remove the bottoms, and I'm using 1/4 inch score tape here. And then we'll remove some of the side, but we are not going to remove it all the way up. So we're going to leave about that much on. And then you can go ahead and remove the backing from the other side as well. And press your page down flat. And then just bring it down nice and straight. And then you can take your bone folder and burnish it all on. And now we're going to have a double pocket here to put some tags into. And then the back of this page again is just going to have mats on it. So now we're going to move again back to the other side. And this page is going to be our big fold out page. So for this page, we need 2 pieces of cardstock that measure 10 by 6 1/4. And you're going to score them at 1/2 inch on both sides. And then in the center, you'll score it at 5. So you're going to score it 1/2 inch on both sides and at 5 in the middle. And you're going to need 2 pieces that are exactly like that. And they're going to attach with the folded side. So if you want to call it a V or whatever you want to call it, our folded side is going to be lined up with this edge of the paper, and our pieces with our adhesive on it and our flaps are going to be in the center. So you're going to fold it down in the middle, and you're going to fold your 2 flaps up like this. All right, so let's just remove one of our backings for now. I'm going to press our page flat and line up that folded edge with the front of your page till it's exactly where you want it. And then you can go ahead and press it down like so. And then you're going to do the same thing with the other piece, except now it's going to line up to the back, right, not past your score line, but right alongside that score line. So again, we're going to remove our backing and line up that folded edge with your score line back here, not over top of it, just right along it, and press down. All right, so now you should have a piece that looks like this. So now we're gonna go ahead and we're actually just gonna remove one of these, and you're going to get a piece of paper, piece of cardstock that measures 9 by 6 1/4, not folded or anything, just a flat piece, and line it up with this front edge of your paper here, and make sure that it's lined up all the way around before you press down in the center. So that looks pretty good. So now press down so that you catch that one piece of tape. And then you can open it up, and we will remove the other piece. And then you can close it back down. And then we will press down our other one. And that's what's going to give us our fold open mechanism here, like so. And we're just going to need to add our magnets to keep it all closed. But that's looking really good there, just like that. All right, let's add the magnets so that that is finished. So you're going to need 2 sets of large basic gray magnets, and we're going to open up into here, and we will add one of our magnets on this piece down here. So this piece is on your original page, so just add it there, and then we will close up, hopefully you can see this, we will close up this so it goes down, and we will let that catch there. We'll let the magnet catch there in the middle, and then press down your top page. And then that'll close it up. So then it'll open. I've already done that on this side here. So it'll open like so, there. So you'll have one magnet down here on your original page, and then the other magnet will go on the back of the piece that we placed on the top. and then that'll keep the whole thing nicely closed. If you don't have the large magnets, you could use 2 small ones on the top and the bottom. But I have the large ones, so I figured I would use them because I actually use the large ones less than the smaller ones. So on the back of this page here that we just finished, there's just going to be some more mats, just some photo mats. So next we're going to be on this page over here, and this is our page that measures 9 inches by 6 3/4. Okay, so for this page we have a pocket here that's going to go at the bottom, like so. So it's going to go all the way to this side of our page. And the pocket measures 7 3/4 by 4 1/4, and you're going to score it 1/2 inch on both sides. And it's going to go down right here. So I've put some 1/4 inch score tape on this side to close the bottom of my pocket, and then I have my tape on there. So I'm just going to go ahead and remove a little bit of the backing here. I'm going to line it up. It's going to go all the way to this side of the page and all the way to the bottom. So now we can take that open and remove the bottom backing on this side, and then just bring it down nice and smooth and press it down. So right on top of this pocket, we are going to do a waterfall, and we're going to do a 4 1/4 by 4 1/4 inch waterfall. And these pieces measure 4 1/4 wide by 4 3/4 tall, and you're going to score it 1/2 inch on the 4 3/4 side, and you will need 4 of these. So we're just going to start at the bottom, or at the top, sorry, and we're going to line it up all the way to the top of the page here, and then all the way to the edge as much as possible, like so. And then I'm just going to keep going and attach all 4. Just line it up to the bottom of this, and this is pretty easy because we have a nice straight edge from our pocket, so we pretty much know it's going to line up nice and straight. So just keep going all the way down. And I just close it every time just to make sure I'm straight, because you don't want a wonky waterfall. And always line up on your pieces that don't have tape before you line up on your pieces that do have tape. So now I'm going to go ahead and attach my closure down here like this. So this piece measures 1 1/2 by 5, and we are going to score it 1/2 inch on the 5 inch side. And then I'm just removing the backing from my tape, and then I'm just gonna center that in as best as I can, leaving about 1/8 of an inch from the bottom, just so my pattern paper can mat nicely. Alright, so that is that page complete. So we will go to the back of this page, and just move this over. So we're working on the back of this page now. So this page is going to have a pocket and 2 belly bands that go on top of the pocket. So again, we are going to attach it all the way to this side of our page here. So it's the same size pocket, 7 3/4 by 4 1/4, scored at 1/2 inch on both sides of the 7 3/4 side. So again, I'm just going to remove a little bit of the top here line it up all the way to the bottom of this page, or to the side, I guess. Right where I want it. Just making sure my tape is at the bottom there. And then when it's where I want it, I'll go ahead and remove the rest of that backing. And then move this backing here. And just go ahead and press it all the way down. And then my belly band piece is 7 3/4 by 2 3/4. And it is scored at 1/2 inch on both sides of the 7 3/4 side. So I'm going to go ahead and line that up right on top of the center of my pocket. And then just press it down up there. And then we can remove the rest down here, the backing. Like so. Alright, and that's one of our belly. So this belly band is 7.5 long by 1 inch wide, and it's scored at 1/2 inch of both sides of the 7.5 inch side. And it's slightly smaller than our previous belly band in width, so you're just going to center it in there as best as you can, right on top of the other belly band. Alright, so that is that page complete. So let's move over to the last page on this side of the book, and we're going to be working on the front of it, and it measures 9 by 7 1/4 once we've done our scoring and everything. So it's 9 by 7 1/4, and on this page we're going to have a 3 by 4 waterfall. So I've got my waterfall pieces here. Excuse me. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pieces for my waterfall. And the top waterfall is going to have one of our frames from the Chipboard frames set. It's going to have it on top here. And I've already attached a piece of acetate to the back of it. So the acetate is going to measure 3 1/4 by 4 1/4. And then what I've done is I've put on some 1/4 inch tape, but only on one of the the bottom side and one of these longer sides here. And I'm going to place it on there so that when I'm ready to put a photo, I can just slip the photo behind there. So we can just go ahead and remove these backings and then just place it right on top of our waterfall. And we're going to line up the top of the chipboard frame with the top of the waterfall. So now that we've got it attached, we can start adding the pieces down, and I'm going to add it over here, pretty close to the corner of my page here. Alright, so now we can go ahead and add the next one. And just put a little bit off first. And then close it up and make sure it's staying lined up. And then we will remove the rest. And then I'll just work my way down like that. Right, so I've got my closure piece ready here, and it measures 5 by 1 1/2, and I'm just gonna add my adhesive to the back here, my score tape, and I'll just remove it. and then bring it in here where I want it, and then just press down, and then we'll close that up with a magnet afterwards. And the back of this is just again going to have some mats on it. So we're going to move back over here and we're going to work on the last page that's on this side. So this page is going to have some stacked pockets, and this page measures 10 by 5.5, and you're going to score it 1/2 inch on both sides. And I've attached my 1/4 inch score tape along the bottom. So I'm going to go ahead and remove just a little bit of my backing here, and we're going to attach it all the way to the bottom of this page, making sure not to go over that score line because it makes it harder to bend it back if we do. So that looks good there. Alright, and then we'll open it up and remove the tape from the bottom and this side over here. And then we will just press it down. And then we've got another pocket to go on top, and it measures 10 by 3. And you're again going to score it 1/2 inch on both sides. And it's going to go there. So we'll go ahead and remove the backing again, and it's going to go right up on the top of our other pocket and all the way to the bottom. So press it on there, and we'll open it up and take off the rest of our backings there. And then just press down. So that is our stacked pocket there. Alright, and then the back again is just going to be mats, some photo mats, and now we're all the way in the back of the book. So for back here, we have another waterfall, and I've done the same thing here with one of my chipboard frames. I've just added some acetate to the back of it. Just put some 1/4 inch tape all the way around and added the acetate, and the acetate is going to measure 6 1/4 by 4 1/4. And then the top piece of my waterfall is going to be larger than the rest of my waterfall, just to accommodate for the frame. So it measures 6 1/2 by 4 3/4, and you're going to score it 1/2 inch on the 4 3/4 side. So again, I've just added some 1/4 inch score tape to 2 of the sides of my waterfall piece, just like so. And then we are going to attach it to that so that it's even all the way around, just like so. And then we will be able to slip our photos in behind the frame, just like so, with ease. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and attach it right in the center of our the back of our book here, and I've already put down the pattern paper. The pattern paper measures 9 3/4 by 7 3/4. So I'm going to kind of just try to center it the best as I can, right there, and press down like so. And then the rest of my waterfall pieces measure 4 3/4 by 6 1/4, and you're going to score it 1/2 inch on the 4 3/4 side. So we're just going to line it up so that there's about 1/8 of an inch on both sides there. You could cut them the same size if you wanted to. I just wanted to have it the size of my photos versus having a little bit of extra photo space, or a little bit of extra space on the side of my photos. Alright, and I'm just going to attach these. So we're going to put on 3 of these of this size. Just lining it up with the bottom there. And then I'll just keep closing it up and make sure that it's closed. And now we're just going to go ahead and add our closure piece. Our closure piece measures 5 by 1 1/4, scored at 1/2 inch on the 5-inch side. And I'm just going to slip it under so it's about that far away down here, and press down. And then I'm just going to add a magnet to close it up. Alright, now let's go ahead and attach our pattern paper to these pieces up here, the pieces that kind of close in our book. And our pattern paper is going to measure 9.5 by 3 3/8. And you're going to do the same thing we did for these pieces, where we marked in at 1 inch on both sides of the 9.5 side, and then you're going to cut from that mark up to the corner and from that mark up to the corner. Alright, so to keep our flaps closed here, these ones that come up from the top and bottom, I've added 2 magnets here so that when they close in, it holds it up there. And then I've done the same thing down here at the bottom, and I'm just going to cover those up with some pattern paper. And then that is how they're going to stay nicely where they're supposed to be up here. So that is the tutorial finished. Now I'm just going to do some matting, and you will see the finished book in the walkthrough. So thank you so much for joining me, and if you haven't already, please subscribe. I would absolutely love that, and have a wonderful day.